Oh yeah, we're recording. Okay. All right, so I'll edit that up.
Okay.
All right, so welcome to our little video that we are making about Isagenix today. I'm Stephanie, and this is Megan.
Hi.
and we get a lot of questions, so we thought the best way to answer those questions was to make a video. And I find the biggest question with Isagenix is how do we use the products? So that's what we're going to talk about first. So, Megan, let's talk about how Megan uses the products. Her situation's a little different. She has celiac disease, so if you want to explain just a little bit about that and why your product choices really matter.
Well, for two reasons. One is everything that I eat has to be completely free of gluten, wheat, barley, and rye, and any traces of it. And so I have to have products that are made in a safe facility, that don't have cross-contamination, that aren't sharing equipment with wheat, barley, or rye,
which Isagenix does. It's manufactured in a plant that is NSF certified. So the products, only one product is NSF certified, but the plant overall has NSF audits done on it. So that's a really big deal. So then these can be marked gluten-free.
Right.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, and the other problem is when you have celiac, and the villi in your intestines have been damaged, it's harder for you to absorb nutrients. So I have to have nutrients that are very easy to absorb, that are bioavailable, that my body doesn't have to work too hard to extract those nutrients.
Yeah. So, which I'm just going to go ahead and jump right into the shakes on this point because it's such a big difference between the Isagenix protein powders and just about everything else out on the market. And I get this question all the time, what makes Isagenix so much better? And so let's speak right to this point, and this really matters for anybody. This is, it's not just for somebody who has celiac disease and has problems digesting nutrients. This is really important for anybody. Athletes really care about this because we're talking about recovery here. So the big difference between Isagenix protein and a lot of those other proteins out on the market is that Isagenix is undenatured. Undenatured means that it has not been through this process of superheating. So your typical whey protein is a byproduct of the cheese making process. In that process, the protein has been superheated.
It's the liquid that you see in yogurt that comes to the top.
Oh, I like
right.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
yeah. So
you can cook with it. Yeah.
in order to get this liquid into the powder format, it has to be superheated. So when it's been superheated, it changes the molecular structure. When it changes the molecular structure, it makes it less bioavailable. That's less available for our bodies to break it down and use it because it's in this form that our bodies don't quite recognize. So your standard protein is only like 20 to 30% bioavailable. Isagenix undenatured whey is 80% bioavailable. So the other difference in Isagenix is it has active enzymes in it. So you want to use it within you want to have your shake within about 10 minutes of mixing it with water because that's when they activate. So those active enzymes actually start the digestive process. So it makes those nutrients more bioavailable in that way too. So that's huge for somebody like you,
well, with celiac,
anybody.
And a lot of times people who do have celiac or other people who are lactose intolerant, celiacs have a hard time with dairy usually. Mm-hmm. But with Isagenix, you've got the undenatured whey. So the whey protein is very healthy. I know with even celiacs, there's a lot of cooking that involves using whey to culture things.
Okay.
So we can digest it when you add the enzymes in. So it helps with breaking those things down.
That's great. So it's already there. Like right. That's so cool. Right. So something else too that for Megan, she said she can't have foods in places that have potential cross contamination, and that could mean like there's somebody uses gloves on a flour tortilla, and then on her food she could actually have a reaction to that. So unless the restaurant can totally guarantee that she is not going to have a reaction, that it's 100% gluten-free, made, toasted in a separate toaster and that kind of thing, that's how serious this is. She runs the risk of not eating meals.
Yeah.
So,
which happens a lot.
It does. I've been with you at plenty of restaurants where you're like, I would rather not eat than to have a reaction.
Yeah.
So that's where not only is this good just for convenience, but it's really good for somebody like Megan to be able to have a whole meal in a packet.
I've got it in my purse just in case. So I'm not starving.
Yeah. So that's one way that she uses the meal replacements. So what else do you use in this bunch?
So, when people are wanting to enroll in Isagenix and they want to get started on their own kind of journey with Isagenix, I usually ask them, what are your goals? What are you looking to do? And they'll say, well, what do you do?
I get that question all the time.
Right.
I want to do what you're doing.
I want to do what you're doing.
Which is cool, because I mean, it's obviously working, right?
Right.
I mean, I think.
Yeah, right. But so I'll tell people, well, what are your goals? What are your biggest concerns? So for me, what I do every day when I wake up, this is the first thing I have in the morning. I have an Isagenix shake. I take that back. Before I have my Isagenix shake, the first thing I do is I make a cocktail. So I have a glass of water. I've used my Ionic Supreme. I put in a scoop of cleanse powder, and I add a little bit of Want More Energy.
Just because I have the same cocktail every morning.
Do you?
Yeah.
And I've gotten to where my body craves it.
Yeah.
One of the things that happened when I went on Isagenix that anybody who knew me before just thinks is hilarious is I stopped drinking coffee. I stopped craving coffee. I was probably the biggest coffee addict I had ever met. So my body, when I wake up, cannot wait to get this into its system because I feel so good afterwards. And this is packed full. This is B vitamins, some energy that's not going to jack you up. You're not going to feel like
no jittery,
jitters whatsoever. Just some good nutrients. This is the adaptogens. We've talked about adaptogens before. That those are the things. It's an herbal, ancient Chinese herbal. So these have been around forever, and these are what kind of calm and regulate your systems. They keep you from going into cortisol shock, or keeping your cortisol levels lower, normal. And then the cleanse is what's going to help, kind of release the toxins that the fat's holding on to.
Yeah.
So, and we'll talk more about that. But this is my cocktail in the morning. Then what I do is I have my shake after I've sort of digested some of that.
Yep. Usually I do this, and then I'll do this first thing, and then I go take my shower or whatever I'm going to do in the morning.
Yeah.
So, 30 minutes to an hour later, I'm going to have a shake.
Yep, exactly. Just kind of let that start doing its magic.
Yeah, it's funny. It feels like magic.
It does feel like magic.
Yeah.
And the days and it's so funny too because I have friends here in town who, when they run out of their stuff, are calling me desperately.
Do you have any? Like you have any?
Like I'm
drug
a dealer
dealers or something.
Saying I'm out of cleanse or I'm out of Ionics. Can you please call me?
Yeah. Which is the good thing about too.
Your body loves it.
Yeah. And then figuring out what works for you on auto ship. It takes a couple months to kind of figure that out. But once you figure that out,
I ran out the first month.
I know
it was not like Steph help me.
So I typically have 2 of each of these on my auto ship, and I have 4 of these, which gets you 2 shakes every day for the whole entire month. Yeah. So that's on my auto ship every month, and then the monthly vitamins too. And then
this, after I've had some food, I don't take this usually on an empty stomach. This is the product B Isagenesis. And this, Stephanie can talk some more about Isagenesis.
I'm actually going to include a video link in here because the science behind it is phenomenal.
It really is kind of fascinating. All I know is that it worked. All I know is I started taking it and it made my skin better. Everything got better. So,
yeah, it changes everything with me. Mental clarity, my skin, energy. Yeah, it's good stuff.
And it's packed full of antioxidants.
Yeah.
So I take this after I've had my shake. So I don't take this on an empty stomach usually. So,
yeah.
And then in the evening, what I do is, I have another Ionics usually in the afternoon.
Same here.
Because,
in the afternoon or have it in the evening, yeah.
When you're sort of just feeling the slump, that's when I want an Ionics. And that really gets me through the evening.
Yeah, and it doesn't, pump you up like coffee in the afternoon will do. So, it's just like a nice little natural wake you up.
Yeah, you feel wonderful when you're on it. And then before I go to bed, if I'm cleansing, I'll take another scoop of cleanse before I go to bed. If not, then I usually just do it in the morning. Yeah. Some people prefer to do it in the evening. But then I'll do two scoops a day of cleanse.
Okay, so on the next day, the full,
And this is IsaFlush. I highly recommend this for anybody who's starting out with Isagenix because your body's going to start releasing so many toxins. Yeah. This has bentonite clay.
Okay, let me just, I'm going to take a quick break here. So we're talking about cleansing, we're talking about releasing toxins. So I want to make something perfectly clear here. This is not a colon cleanse.
No,
there's
that is
there's 2 kinds of cleanses out there.
Yeah.
One is a colon cleanse and one is a cellular cleanse. So typically when you buy pills and potions and stuff like that, a lot of those are colon cleanses. They sound exactly like what they are. A cellular cleanse is something like Isagenix, or if you're going to do just a straight up juice cleanse, those are cellular cleanses. Those are cleansing you on a cellular level.
Right.
But you are releasing toxins. You're just doing it more through, it's just a normal, natural process. You're not like having to not leave the bathroom. And the cellular cleanse actually happens through urine. So it's, but you are releasing a lot of these toxins that have been stored in your fat for a while. So, all right. So, sorry, I just had to clarify that because I get that question all the time.
Difference.
And if it was a colon cleanse, like I'd be out. Sorry.
Yeah. And they are very different because the cellular cleanse is going to be dealing with things like your eyes, your hair, your ears. I mean, all like every part of your body is going to be cleansing. But those toxins have to go somewhere, and where are they going to go? They're going to go in your bloodstream, and from your bloodstream into your digestive system.
Exactly.
And so what this does is this gets into your digestive system, and it has bentonite clay and some other magnesium and some stuff that's going to bind to those toxins and get them out.
Yeah.
And help, because otherwise, when it first starts happening, your body can feel a little overwhelmed and be like, oh my gosh,
it's so true. It depends on how toxic you are prior to doing something like this. If you're super toxic, and you've been eating a ton of stuff that's making you very, very acidic, a lot of processed foods, things like that, your body's going to have to get rid of those toxins. And sometimes your body doesn't really, it kind of, it's not the most fun process. It's not terrible, but it's no colon cleanse.
No, but this helps.
Just
move it on out. Get it out of the system and your body. So that's my routine. Steph, you can talk a little more about your routine and kind of the whys of what you do.
Yeah, so my routine is very similar. I have 2 shakes every single day, and if not more, sometimes I have like 3. But so typically, yes, I start my morning with my 1 scoop of each of these. Then I will have my shake as my first meal. I typically have a lunch date meeting, whatever you want to call it, where I'm out. So I have lunch out. Usually I choose like a salad. I'm not super picky on that, but anything too heavy is going to make me sleepy anyway. So I pick like a salad, some salmon on it, something like that. Later on in the afternoon, I have a second shake. Sometimes I'll have the Ionics in the afternoon. Sometimes I'll just wait until the evening and have these 2 right before I go to bed. I usually have a really nice full meal with tons of flavors and different fats.
Oh, it's fun eating at her house.
I love it.
Oh my God. Cooks. It's always just like this healthy.
It's so much fun though. We just add so much stuff to our
colorful,
salads,
flavorful.
Yeah. You have to have that. Otherwise, you get kind of bored with your food, and
you don't look forward to eating.
Right. Yeah. Right. So I love, and I don't really measure and weigh my dinner. Like I keep normal portions. Just be smart about it. So
give
that's
your body what it needs.
Exactly.
And then stop when it's done.
And stop when it's done. So that's what I usually have there. I use the Isagenix greens. Megan cannot. This is one of the either 3 or 4 products that has gluten in it, but it's clearly marked that it has gluten in it, and we know that she can't, and it has gluten in it because it has wheatgrass. So I love it though. It's there's so many things packed into the Isagenix greens, and I just put like a scoop in.
With
wherever,
your shake?
With my shake, wherever I am. I don't prefer to put it in water. I'll put it in with my shake. So if I'm here in the morning, then I'll put it in my morning shake, and if it's the afternoon, otherwise, like if I'm on the road, I just rip this open and throw it in a shaker bottle and like just be done with it. But I'd rather have this in the Ninja. I love the Ninja.
Yeah.
Totally my favorite.
Yeah, we just mix up a shake.
Right and the Ninja's great because it has the big, huge, regular blender top, and then it also has an individual cup. So if you're looking for a blender, and it's like half the price of the lower priced Vitamix, so it's reasonably priced.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you if you could talk a little bit about the product B too, because a lot of times I'll put people, people will ask me, what do you do? And this has been such a crucial part of my routine and kind of how it's transformed the way I've looked and felt. And so if you could maybe talk about the science behind the product B and why it is, and I know you had an interesting story with your mother on this as well. So.
Yes, so the product B, it's amazing. It really is. You can buy it just regular product B by itself, or I usually take it in the Angel's Essentials with product B, which is also what my mom was taking. So Megan's so funny. She was right before this. We did talk about what we were going to talk about. She was, Steph, could you talk about the science behind it? Because all I know is it makes my skin look better.
And I just know that when I stop taking it, I can tell.
You can,
Yeah,
right?
I really can tell.
Yeah,
and the
you can.
same with everybody that has worked with me who started using it. They said the same thing.
Same here. I ran out of it when I lived in Costa Rica, and I was like 2 or 3 weeks, and I was like, gotta get that. But really, I mean, once I started taking it again, it was amazing. So what Product B does, it's telomere support. And I'm going to link like I said before, I'm going to link a video in here because that telomere support video is really, really interesting. Basically, our DNA ends up shortening as we age. That's what causes aging. It's just a natural process. So the ends of our DNA, that's where our telomeres are. So telomere support helps to maintain the length on those, on the ends of our DNA. So it slows down aging. So that's how it works. The video I'm going to put in here talks about, it's so interesting. Scientists have found that lobsters don't really show signs of aging. So
Could be because they're made of shell.
Well, but what they found was that they don't have telomeres shortening. So that's some of the interesting stuff that they're using to develop products like this. Or telomere. I've heard it pronounced 2 different ways. So anyway, that's what Product B is. So the story with my mother, my mom, she started using Isagenix not too long after I started using it. She also entered the Ice Body Challenge, and she lives in Kansas City. Where was I living at the time? Philadelphia. So I didn't get to see her on a regular basis, and she kept all of her pictures like on lockdown. She didn't tell me about it. She's like, I just knew she was doing it. So she lost about, I think, like 25, 30 pounds, which is awesome. But when she showed me her pictures, it wasn't just that 25 or 30 pounds. It wasn't just the weight loss that I noticed. I immediately noticed that all of her skin tightened up. And so knowing what I know about nutrition, you have to have solid nutrition to get your skin to tighten up like that. And honestly, I didn't even know it was possible. Like, I'm talking about like all of like this area on her neck, everything just like tightened up. There was no plastic surgery involved. It was just solid nutrition. Yeah. So when she started with the 2 shakes a day. She also had the meal replacement bars that she would put in there as a meal. And then she started with the Ageless Essentials with Product B. So that's what she started with. That's how she really made tons and tons of results that way, and she's maintained that since then. So that's been really, really awesome.
That's really cool. And and just looking through, because I do know a good bit about herbs and nutrition and whatnot. Looking through some of the ingredients, there are a ton of antioxidants in here. Yeah. So it's doing something too to prevent oxidation. Yes. That's happening through the stress that you put on your body through exercise, through just daily life, stress, whatnot. So whatever this is doing is working for me.
Yeah, it totally works for me too. And like I said, I mean, I could tell a big difference when I ran out when I lived in Costa Rica. It was because it was hard to get stuff shipped there, but it was I could start to feel a difference in about 2 to 3 weeks. As far as not using it, I was like, oh, that's kind of not feeling right. That's really not feeling right. And then once my mom came to visit, she brought some more back with her, and within like 4 or 5 days, I was feeling amazing. So I guess maybe that's another point to talk about. How quickly will I feel results from Isagenix? Isagenix, I love that it is a lifestyle program. You get to eat real food. It's something that's maintainable. It's supplements in there. It helps you to learn how to eat regularly. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of counterintuitive because you're like, well, I'm having this packaged stuff, but the nutrition that's contained in this is just amazing. And then it's helping you to, like, you eat real food with it too. It's great.
One of the things I've always heard is you are what you eat, but you also eat what you are. And so as your cellular structure changes, as what your body is composed of changes, you crave different things. And so over the couple of weeks where your body chemistry is changing, where these adaptogens are supporting things, where you're getting really good nutrition, where you're
going more
your
from
cells,
acidic to alkaline.
To alkaline.
Yeah.
Case in point, me not wanting coffee.
Right.
I eat
coffee's acidic, so
it to me, for the first time in my life, again, I was a 5-cup-a-day girl. I loved coffee. I had French presses. I had all this paraphernalia for coffee, and it was like a coffee shop in my house. And I don't drink it anymore because my body is. It hurts almost to drink it because my body has gone so much more alkaline now that my structure changed. So the point in this is that as your body gets acclimated to having this kind of nutrition floating around in it, it's going to change what you're craving.
Yeah.
And it's going to change what you want to put in your body, and then you're going to start to notice external changes as well.
Yeah. And so you also said a very key word called cravings.
Yes.
So I want to talk about that really quick, and then we'll just move right on to how do you order it, because there's a little bit of confusion about that sometimes.
Yeah.
And so hopefully we can just simplify that for you. So the cravings piece. When you crave something, it's because you're missing nutrients. So if you're craving one thing, then you're, like say you're craving something salty, you might be missing out on magnesium. I don't know. But either way, Isagenix provides just enough carbohydrates that it keeps you from craving sugars. It gives you all of the nutrients that you need, so you're not craving all of these other things. It's been a game changer. I mean, I can't remember the last time I took down a whole loaf of bread, which I used to do on a regular basis, but I don't even crave it anymore. It's not it's not something that I want to do, and that doesn't happen necessarily overnight. It took me about a month of using the shakes to really go, okay, I'm starting to notice a real difference here. So really, once you're getting started, just keep going with it. People like to give up on their these new changes within like 4 weeks. If I don't see results in 4 weeks, then I'm done. Give yourself, what I found, especially in my profession, is give yourself 10 to 12 weeks, because it takes 66 days to make something a habit. And then if you give yourself 10 to 12 weeks, that's when your physical results will show up, and how you feel too. So I think that's a really good, solid time frame to see if something's working for you.
And be gentle with yourself, and be compassionate with yourself when you're going through the process. Every single body is a different group of chemicals, and is built differently. My best body looks very different from your best body.
Yeah.
We laugh because we're, she's blonde, I'm brunette. I have teeny tiny little arms. You have, muscle shoulders, but we're just different people. And so some people might start Isagenix, and it's going to take them a while to get certain things sorted out that might have been a problem for several years. But if you stay on the path, and it's a pathway to health, it's a lifestyle that you're embracing. It's going to work. The products really do work.
Yep. And then I guess the other thing too, like just kind of add some things in there. Kind of really experiment with yourself and see what works. My absolute baseline, absolute must-have is 2 shakes a day. That's what I do. The vitamins are next, and then these guys. So
I have to have that in my system.
Yep.
To feel my best.
Yep.
And I notice it when it's not there.
Yeah, I do too. I do too. And it's fun to try some other things, like the little snacky things and all that stuff. And cleansing, like I'll do usually do the daily cleanse, but sometimes I'll kind of shift into this cleanse where I do a every Monday cleanse or something like that. I kind of go back and forth. It depends on what I'm doing in my life, how that works for me. So same for you. So the last thing we want to talk about on this video is how you order.
Yes.
It is a multi-level marketing company, direct sales network. There's so many names for it, whatever you want to call it.
But basically, we are the store.
We are the store.
The person you're working with is the store.
Yeah.
There's no storefront.
There's no storefront. And who you buy from matters, because and I ran into this several times where somebody will just buy directly from the website. They heard about Isagenix, it was good, but they buy directly from the website, and they don't always get the best. Customer support is always awesome, but whoever is in their upline, maybe they don't provide the best support. So who you buy from is really important. Like if I'm going to buy something like this, I want to be able to say, hey, Megan, I was doing this and I wanted to do this. Like, I want Megan to be able to help me with that and
to
be able to
respond
answer
to your
those
calls,
questions.
or provide videos like this to help you know what you're doing along the way.
Yeah, and you never know too. Like sometimes you could enroll with somebody that maybe just isn't in alignment with you and like what you're doing. So this is a multi-level marketing company, so there's a business aspect to it. And if you just sign up through their website, sometimes you can get aligned with somebody who is just interested in building the business, which the business is amazing. But if you aren't getting the product support that you need, it's really hard to try to build a business. And, you need a team. You need a team. You need a team. Yeah. So that was my other thing too. You don't have to build a business from this. Ordering through Isagenix, there's 3 ways you can do it. Retail, which you're paying 30% more. I wouldn't recommend that necessarily. And then you can also sign up as an associate or as a preferred customer. I just say do an associate. It's $29 for the year. As an associate, you're just the only difference between associate and preferred customer is that you're offering or you're supplying your Social Security number just in case you do ever make money from it. But there's no requirements there. There's no, you don't have to sell anything. You don't have. But here's the thing: when I first heard about Isagenix, my friends that I competed with were the ones that told me, and I had zero interest. I mean, like negative interest in the business side of things. Yeah. But had I just ordered through them, like if they would have been like, oh, sure, Stephanie, you don't really want to do the business side, that's fine, just order through me. What that would have done was that would have not set me up for success. Because as it turns out, 1 year later, when I saw them again, they were like, Stephanie, did you realize you have like 600 or 700 people on your left side, which is the compensation plan we'll talk about, 6 or 7 people on your left side, or 600 or 700 people that's building your team. And that's where Megan was talking about the team. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. So people were already asking me about Isagenix. So we said, okay, well, here's my link if you want to order some. So just with those few people in the beginning, all of my products started getting paid for. So I was making enough money from Isagenix to use it for free. So had my friends just said, oh, just order through me, then I never would have been set up in that position ever. And it wouldn't have been, it wouldn't have served me at all. So if you're trying to order some Isagenix, just pay the $29, get your own account set up. You're securing your spot just in case. Like, seriously, I was negative interested. Like, I didn't want any part of it.
Yeah.
But now
and I wasn't either when I started on the product.
Absolutely. Like, me, it was just like, hey, I just want to use these. Yeah. You know, how do I sign up to use them? And I was like, oh, you have these 2 ways. And so, you know what? Once you start using it, people start noticing, especially if you're a fitness professional, people want to know. And why wouldn't you just send them to something that you can monetize anyway? You know, so it's been great. Yeah. So anything else?
No, and I think just, finding out which pack works for you in the beginning. We usually, I usually will recommend to people either starting, if they want to lose weight, putting them on the 30-day system. Yep. The 30-day system is a great way to kickstart your body to just get things changed. If you're interested in adding the Product B, the anti-aging stuff, it's a great idea. Start on this Total Health and Longevity package. Yeah. That's going to give you everything that you need, plus the Product B. And it's worth the investment, and you're going to really see huge changes in a short amount of time. Yeah, it's been great. So if you have any questions, we've provided all of our information down below. And feel free to contact us.